Hi there, Loy Machedo, speaking to you from loymachedo.com. Who's Loy Machedo and Think Personal Branding. Today, the date is 6th December 2017. Time right now is 7:09 in the morning. All right. Now, before anything else, I've given a timestamp below in the description below, so you can see the timestamp, so you know which part of the video is giving you which point. So in case you want to just skip and go to that particular point, you have the freedom. That's number one. Second thing is, I already have 2 or 3 takes, so I'm just going to go with the flow on this one. So even if I mess up or make an error, I don't care because I don't have time. I just want to get this video out of the way. Number 3 is, the purpose of this video is my client who is a good friend of mine. She works in a very senior position. She has an interview with the CEO. Apparently, the CEO has called her for a high-level position, and she wanted my advice and guidance. So, because we are at 2 different time zones, and when she's free, I'm busy. When I'm busy, when I'm free, she's busy. So I thought I'll put up this video for her. Now, that's what I want you to know. So, this is the basic framework of the video. Now, a couple of pointers that I want to give you is, let me put the timestamp so I get the pointers, 1:22. Now, a couple of pointers that I want to give you is the points of wisdom that I mentioned here are universal. Anyone can use it at any point of time, and they are pretty foolproof. I have myself, I've not invented them, but I kind of formulated and merged the best of what I could find from different interview books, and also from my personal experience of being an interviewer and training many people, over 2,000 people, to get jobs in the Middle East, okay, and across the globe. So these are the points that you can use at any point of time. However, keep in mind that every person is different. It works differently for different people. So not all the points may be applicable to you, or not all the points can be useful to you. So I would recommend you sit down with your mentor, sit down with someone who really guides you, someone who's really a coach, and figure out which one is good for you and not good for you. Also keep in mind that when I'm talking about practice, you need to practice perfectly and properly. So if you are practicing but it's the wrong thing or the wrong content or the wrong way, you're going to mess up and it's going to cause a problem. So it'll backfire. So please sit down with your mentor and customize the stuff that I've given you. Last but not the least, this is just as a normal request. Please do like and subscribe to my channel. Like my video. Do put your comments down below. And if you would like to donate because you find value in the content that I give you, go to PayPal. That is loymachedo.com. $1, $5, $10, whatever. It's always helpful to support the channel. And if you'd like my professional services, please go to thinkpersonalbranding.com. The description is down below. So having got that out of the way, let's quickly move on to the content. So let me put the timestamp. Okay, 3:18. All right. Now, these are the points that I'm just stating in terms of the interview process. If your CEO calls you for an interview, what should you do? So see which among them is useful. I'll just go on with the flow. Okay, let's put the timestamp here. Okay, the first most important point that I'd like to tell you is point number 1 is, do not assume that you're smarter than the CEO. Please don't assume. Now you might say, "Oh, Loy, I definitely don't assume I'm smarter than the CEO." Yes, but you need to realize that many people think when they go in front of the CEO, they're going to wing it, or when they go in front of the employer or the interviewer, they can just manufacture answers. Oh, because whenever I speak to people, I ask them, "So how are your interview skills?" "Oh, my interview skills are very good, Loy. My interview skills are great, Loy. My interview skills are perfect." And then when I actually take the test and I literally grill them, 99% are not ready. 99%, they give terrible interview skills. Most of them are obnoxious. Most of them are not prepared. Most of them are ridiculous. You can't just wing it. You can't just say, "Tell me something about yourself. I was born, my education, I am a..." No, that's wrong. Please don't think that you are smart. You are not smart. Just as public speaking is a skill, just as selling yourself is a skill, just as your industry work itself has taken years for you to become as good as you think you are, Okay, even going for an interview is a process. It involves perfection and it takes time. You need to sit down with your coach, your mentor, and hone those skills, because you might think you're very good at public speaking, but there is someone who's better than you, and you'd obviously meet someone who is incredibly better than you. So please do not think you're smarter than the CEO. Don't hype yourself. Don't believe in yourself. Remember this, when you're going in front of the CEO has seen it all, the employer has seen it all. For me, example me, when I deal with people, okay, people judge me, oh, he has tattoos, he has earrings, what the hell will he teach me? But I'm good at my craft. I am the best at what I do. I have dedicated years of my life to be the best at what I am, okay? That's why people pay me a shitload of money. So it's very easy to judge me, but when I bring you into my world, of that is personal branding, I am the best. That is why when I speak to people, in seconds, I can analyze them, in seconds, okay? So please understand that your CEO is smarter than you. He knows his job better than you. He knows how to take interviews better than you. He can analyze you in slices, in seconds. So please remember this, that your CEO is better, and go with that humble approach. So when you accept this, that is where you push yourself to be better. Point number 2 is, obviously, if you accept point number 1, that your CEO is better than you, point number 2 would make sense. That is, let me put a timestamp, 6:29. Okay, point number 2 is practice perfectly. Okay, now when I'm talking practice doesn't mean you sit at home and you say, my name is so-and-so, I'm this and I'm this. Okay, what is your strength? My strength is so-and-so. No, absolutely no. Keep this in mind. If Usain Bolt, I know I give this example many times, so if Usain Bolt has to win the 100 meters, he can't tell his coach during the practice session, oh, let me run relaxingly, let me just run putting. No, every practice session, he has to exert himself, he has to put the best over there, exactly how he would do on the finals day. So it's not like he practices relaxingly, and on the finals, he will put everything that he has. No. He practices with every practice session, he puts his 100%, and that day on the finals, his memory, his muscle has memory. Everything goes automatic and he just shoots off because he has made it unconscious. So when you practice, please practice as if it is the final interview. One of the requisites that I have for all my students is, when they give me a practice session, I tell them every practice session has to be perfect. So if there are 10 questions, and they make a mistake at first one was done perfectly, second one perfectly, third one has a mistake, I tell them, no, you have to go all the way back to question number 1. Make sure that you give me a perfect take. There's no first question perfect, second question perfect, third question not so perfect, fourth one perfect. No, I make them go through all of them perfectly. So it's one take. So for example, if you have 1,000 words and you have to read 1,000 words perfectly, and you made a mistake at let's say 153rd word, I would tell you, go back all the way again, give me all of them perfectly. So every practice should be 1 to 1,000 perfect. There should be no mistake at even the 998th. If you give a mistake at 999th, I make you go all the way from 0, start all over again. So you have to ensure that every practice session is perfect, because you cannot afford to make a mistake. Remember this, if there's a white sheet and a black dot, everyone notices the black dot. So practice perfectly. That is the second point. Let me put the timestamp for point number 3. That's 8:54. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Point number 3 is keep it short. The 3 S. That is short, sweet, and succinct. Now, what do I mean by that? There is a tendency for people, when they talk, they just keep rambling on and on and on. Sometimes we like the sound of our own voice. I tend to have that problem, okay? If you talk too much, it can backfire. That is why when I see a resume that is 7 pages or 8 pages or even 4 pages, I ask them, if every word that you put on your CV, I would charge you, let's say $100, or I charge you, let's say $50. You have to pay me for every extra word on your CV. How many words would you put? They say, I'll reduce the number of words because, I don't want to pay so many words. So just keep this in mind. Every word that comes out from your mouth that is extra, the person listening to you will lose interest. So keep it short, sweet, to the point, but not so short like, tell me interest. I like working. Tell me something about yourself. I'm a marketing executive. So don't make it so short that the person would be like, what do I ask this person? At the same time, don't be in love with yourself that you keep talking that the person gets bored. Unless, of course, you're an entertainer or a comedian. Okay? So keep it short, sweet, to the point. Now, how do you get this? How do you get the right amount of words is the question. What I would normally recommend is every answer that you're planning to give, make sure you write it down word for word. It should be written down word for word, and it should be in front of you on a Word document. And that is what you should focus on. Which brings me to the next point. Let me put the timestamp in 41. Okay. So obviously, if you're writing it word for word, point number 4 is it should be edited, whatever you're planning to say, and it should be memorized word for word. Now, I know this might sound like, really, Loy, how can I memorize everything? You must memorize everything. If I were to say 1,000 words, I'm not joking, I have literally memorized even up to 3,000 or 4,000 words or 5,000 words. I have memorized word for word a 15-minute speech. I know that might sound impossible to you because some people find it hard to memorize a 3-minute speech. I have literally done it. The reason being is I wanted to make sure that everything that I said was amazing. Now, it may not be possible for you to memorize word for word a 45-minute speech. It's not possible. I agree. But what you need to do is keep in mind, you need to edit and memorize whatever it's that you're planning to give the decision maker. That is where it's always helpful to memorize, single one-liners, witty one-liners, exceptional facts, figures about yourself. Because when you memorize them, as you're speaking and as you're engaging with that person, suddenly, a point will come in your mind. So it's there. So you should say it before you forget it. So it's always good to edit and memorize. So please, whatever, are the normal questions the person's going to ask you, write them down. Write them. These are the 20 questions this person may ask me. Then write on word for word what you think you would say. Write down word for word and memorize this. Edit this. That is, first edit, then memorize. And say it the way that you would write it down. Because when we write something down and if we find it interesting, when we say it, it becomes even more interesting. Okay, so that's point number 4. Point number 5, let me put the timestamp, is make sure that every answer that you give, it should be creative and it should be original. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. Most of the interviewers tend to ask someone who is new, tell me something about yourself. Now, what is the reason they ask you, tell me something about yourself, is because they didn't have time to go through the CV, or they're just wanting you to warm up, or, they just want you to talk when they would go through your resume and figure out what question to ask you. Okay? So that is the reason why some people say, tell me something about yourself. So sometimes when you're just talking, he'll not even listen to anything you say. He'll just go through your CV, or he'll cherry pick to figure out if there's any exceptional point that he would like you to say. In a way, that's good for you because it helps you warm up and get into the flow and kind of make him want to, gel with you. So when it comes to tell me something about yourself, please, please, please do not start with, I was born in India, and I studied in Gurukula school, and then I went to Pondicherry University where I did matriculation pass and Bachelor of Commerce, and then I did my Masters in Sri Durga University with 85%, and my first job was being a clerk at my uncle's shop in Sethi and Sons Limited. Please don't do that. Please. Because any school child, any high school student, any college graduate, any idiot can do this. When you're giving an answer, obviously, I don't want you to say when you're giving an answer, I'm going to tell you something that's absolutely going to shock you. Get ready, drum roll, da da da. Don't do that. Okay. When I'm talking of being creative, don't do something so obnoxious like, I had this one candidate whom, when I told him be creative and original, this guy, he actually told, give me your pen. And the guy was like, what? Give me your pen because I'm going to tell you something. Takes the pen, looks at it. Life is like this. Please don't do that. This young boy, I don't want to give details. He tried to do this. It doesn't work that way. Okay. So when it comes down to being creative and original, for example, when it comes down to me, what I do is I never ever go the same path of where was I born, what did I do. I gauge the person, who is the person who's taking my interview, why has this person called me, and if I had only 30 seconds, let's say only 30 seconds, or only one line, just one line, what would I tell this person? So based on that, my normal introductions, which I give them is, like, let's say, for example, I met someone at a party. They ask me, what do you do? I never tell them marketing executive, sales executive. I tell them, whatever salary you're earning, I'm the guy who doubles it. So obviously the person would say, wait, what did you just say? So I always tell them something by which they would ask me, I didn't understand, tell me more, or what did you just say, or really, I try to give a statement which will make them ask me more. So obviously with your CEO, you cannot tell them, whatever salary you're earning, I'm going to double it. It doesn't work that way. One of the safest ways to come out with something creative and original is, for someone who doesn't know you, is state your industry expert or state what you're really good at, okay? But with the CEO, obviously you can't tell them I'm a marketing professional, because your CEO absolutely knows which department you're from or what is it that you do. So when you're dealing with the CEO, and if he asks you, tell me something about yourself, I would start with something that I would absolutely know for a fact the CEO doesn't know. Because the CEO has gone through my resume, the CEO has spoken to my boss, so I would dig for some fact that I would be sure the CEO doesn't know, that would show that I'm a better candidate for the job. So that is where you'll have to really think, really dig to bring out that gem that will make the CEO sit up and say, oh, really? Okay. So find out something that would make the CEO sit up and think, oh, really? Wow. Okay. So that's what I mean by point number 5, be creative and original. So let's move to the next point, that is 16. Okay. Point number 6 is every single point that you give the CEO or you're trying to tell the CEO, it should be a selling point. Now, what do I mean by this? The art of hustling is that of you being an aggressive seller. So even with the CEO is the most important salesman for the company, so he's good at selling. So when you're in front of the CEO, every story that you give, every fact that you give should be a selling point. So when someone talks about your strength, don't say, I'm hardworking, I'm a team player, I focus on my work. No. Make it a selling point. So here's my question to you. If you really had to sell yourself, let's say 4,000 candidates came for the interview and you're the 4,000th, the last person. What would you say that would make you stand out among all the 4,000 candidates? So obviously you cannot say, I'm hardworking. Obviously you cannot say, I'm focused. So what would you say? You need to give something that makes you stand out and is your selling point. Let's say, for example, let's say, for example, I had to sell you an iPhone or I had to sell you a Samsung. And both of them are the same. Absolutely. Everything is the same. Let's assume everything is the same. Same software, same hardware, same everything. But the Samsung is, if you drop it from a very high, let's say very high threshold, it would not break, it would not crack. But the iPhone, let's say it would crack or dent. Now that becomes a selling point, and that is one of the reasons why I opted for the Samsung, that is S Note or Note 8, whatever. So because among all the factors being everything more or less the same, when the tests were conducted, they found after a certain point when you drop the Samsung with the iPhone stops working while the Samsung continues working. So that was a very unique selling point. So at point number 6, have a very unique, very individual, very specialized selling point that the person has not heard before. Obviously, in my case, I look different, I sound different, and I also give them unique points that make them think that, wow, what he has said, nobody else would say. Okay. Point number 7, let me write the timestamp. 1940. Okay. Is every answer should be very unique to you, which I again explained. Let's say, for example, in my case, I'm talking about having tattoos. I'm talking about, now these are my weaknesses. Just imagine, okay? Some people think My tattoos are my weakness. But I address what is obvious, obviously my tattoos. But then I try to give them something that is totally unique. For example, I study 4 hours, 1 to 4 hours every single day, and I can literally tell you which book I'm reading right now, why am I reading that book, and what is it that I'm studying. That is one thing which is very unique to me, which I've not found in many other people. Okay. The second thing which is very unique to me is I'm hardcore. I'm obsessed. I don't value even my family, even my children, even my wife, even religion, even God, when it comes to my passion, my work. There are not very many people who can say that, I value my work more than my wife, more than my child. I do it. That's me. I'm sorry, because for me, my life is my work, my brand. I will die for it. I'm ready to sacrifice anything for my brand. For many people, it's like, oh my God, what a sick guy. But for many other people, especially business owners, they're like, I want the guy like this. I want a guy who values his work more than anything in the world. So you should have a point that is totally unique to you and be proud about it. I know many people say, oh, that is so sick. Oh, but when you're talking of an employer who is investing 100 million into his business, and he might have the risk of losing everything. Given a choice between a guy who wants a balanced life, who values his family, and who leave the work and go back to his family, or a guy who values his work and is ready to die for his work, the employer would choose a person like this. At least I would choose. So find out what is unique to you. I'm not saying copy what I'm saying, but find out what is that unique selling proposition. For example, in terms of my looks, my tattoos stand out. In terms of my personalities, I'm very aggressive. So find out what is something unique to you. Okay. Point number eight, let me put a timestamp, 21:55, is every answer that you give, every answer should not only be focused on your uniqueness, it should be in line and sync with the company values and the company objectives. Now, for example, if a company believes in teamwork, you have to be the teamwork guy. If a company is like Apple, just focus on being unique and being extreme and being obsessed with no other balance in life, that's what you need to focus on. If a company believes in being hyper aggressive, you need to be aggressive. If a company believes in being goody and nice and customers, most important, for you, customers should be the king. So if your personality and the company's values kind of match, then it's great. If it doesn't match, it's up to you. Are you just looking to get in, work for 6 months to a year and then get out? Then obviously you'll have to, manufacture these answers to match your personality. But otherwise, if you were to ask me, make sure that your personality and the company's values and objectives match. And if they do match, make sure every answer that you give is hyper-focused towards the company's objective. Because let's say, for example, the CEO values the CEO values, let's say, teamwork. Okay, teamwork. He values it more than anything else in the world. Don't portray yourself as a lone ranger, as a guy who doesn't care about anything else, will achieve the objectives by himself. Be a person who says, as I'm focusing towards the objectives, as I'm being aggressive towards the objectives, I believe it is very, very important for me to hold my colleague's hand, take him with me, whoever my team, I take them with me to achieve these goals. So, you need to play around with these words to make sure the answer that you give is in line with the company values. Now, next point, 23:53. Okay. Point number 10 is it's taking a lawyer's mentality, as I call it. Make sure that every answer that you give, obviously you have written it down, obviously you have practiced and you know what it is. Make sure that every answer that you give, you play the devil's advocate and you attack every point. Let's say, for example, an answer that you give, I'm very hardworking. So play the devil's advocate and say, no, you're hardworking, so what? I have another 100 candidates who are as hardworking as you. What answer would you say then? Let's say, for example, you say, the salary that I'm expecting is $10,000. So if suppose he says, I can get the person with the same set of skills, same, every single thing, who's ready to take 9,000. So if you're asking for 10,000, why should I give it to you? Why don't I give it to someone who's asking for 9,000? Or let's say a person would say, my salary expectation is 10,000, and then he tells you, do you know I can get a person exactly with your skills, your experience, I can get two of them for $5,000 each. What would you say then? So just make sure that every answer that you give, you are able to refute, you're able to back them up, and you're able to handle these objections, because it's very, very important. Others, you'll not survive. Okay, so handling objections is very, very important. Make it like a debate format. Make it like more like, you know, you're a lawyer and you need to give that point across. Okay, the next point number 10. Let me put a timestamp. 25, 35 is the elevator pitch. Okay, now what is the elevator pitch? Let's assume you're in the elevator and all of a sudden your CEO walks in, or you enter an elevator and there you find the person of your dreams, Richard Branson, Mark Zuckerberg, or the ruler of the country. Okay, he's there. What would you say? What would you say? Just imagine you're going to be there for 1 minute. The lift is going up for 1 minute. What would you say? So this is where I tell people you need to practice the elevator pitch. It should be there at the tip of your tongue, always ready, so that if you meet the person of your dreams, if you meet the CEO, or you're meeting someone who can change your life, you can literally say those words which would make that person say, I think we need to have an interview. Why don't you come and meet me? So please have your elevator pitch ready, because once you get the elevator pitch ready, I'm pretty sure during the course of the interview, you can do an amazing job. Let me just have a sip. One second. Man, this is tiring. Not easy to do the shit that I do. Okay, next timestamp is 26:49. The next timestamp that I would give you is my principle of 47303. If you have seen my videos before, you know what it is. If you have been my student, you know what it is. The principle of 47303 is simply this. When someone sees you, within 4 seconds, they'll judge you. So let's say you see someone who's fat, you're going to judge them. Oh, this guy must be bloated or lazy. You see someone who looks muscular or really big, you'll begin to think, oh my God, this guy must be a freak. You look someone who's tattooed like me, oh my God, that guy must be a drug addict, or that guy must be, a jail inmate. So whenever we see people, we judge them within 4 seconds. Okay, that's my theory, within 4 seconds. So make sure that your 4 seconds, that when a person sees you and judges you, it is exactly how you would want them to judge you. So if, let's say, some girls, what they do is, because they would love for the person to see, wow, and go like this, they dress up sexy, they show a little bit of cleavage, they show their hips, they show their body. Some others dress up very professionally, so when you see them, you're like, wow, this person stands out. Some of them, they want to connect. Let's say, for example, one of my friends, he was going for an interview with someone who was not hardcore, I would say, is a very staunch Muslim. Okay, so he made sure that he dressed up in a way that was very Islamic. Okay, so the first thing is, when you're talking 4 seconds, make sure that the 4 seconds, the first impression, is exactly what you would want the person to kind of notice. Second one is the 7. The 7 is when you speak, you have 7 seconds to set the first impression. So normally, if you speak, good morning, sir, the person will get, okay, this person he'll start judging you. So within the first 7 seconds, obviously you can speak 7 to, let's say, 15 words to 20 words max. So what would you like to say that should stand out is what you need to ask yourself. So the 7 seconds should be something that totally should register in the person's mind as, this is the first impression of the person and this is what stands out. So the next point comes down to the 30 seconds. Now, what do I mean by 30 seconds? So you have spoken, sorry, I burped. Okay, sorry, I'm drinking coffee on an empty stomach. So you're talking about, we finished talking about the 4 seconds when a person sees you and judges you immediately. The 7 seconds when a person sees you and gives you 7 seconds to talk. The next one is your 30 seconds opener. 30 seconds is, what would you say in the first 30 seconds that would leave an absolutely amazing and incredible mark? So you need to write down word for word what is your 30 seconds outro. Last, if not the least, is your 3 minutes pitch. Your 3-minute speech should be roughly around, say, 300 words, 300 to 450 words, whereby whatever you say there should stick. This is something I work with my clients, and it takes roughly around, let's say, a day to 3 days to craft a 3 minutes powerful sales pitch about yourself. So remember this, it's 47303. 4 seconds is someone will see you, in 4 seconds they'll judge you. 7 minutes is what they will look at you or how they would feel after 7 seconds is said. 30 is how they would judge you within 30 seconds. And last is 3 minutes. So you have 3 minutes to speak. What would you say? Okay. Point number 12. I know this would be confusing, but please don't make yourself sound too perfect. Here's the problem. If you start, positioning yourself as, I am the most amazing, aggressive, hardcore, focused, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You go on positioning yourself as too perfect. What you've done is you've raised the bar so high. And if you've raised the bar so high, every day the person will be looking at you and making sure that you set the bar so high, you achieve so high, and you remain so high. This can be a problem. I'll give you the reason why. When I wanted to get into Citibank, that is when I was in my 20s, what I did is I went to, straight away, I bumped into the regional head of Citibank, and I given the best sales pitch that I could give him about myself. He was so impressed that during a sales meeting that we had, with everyone, I was new in the bank. Everyone else's targets, even the ones who were right at, the topmost salespeople, he gave them targets. Okay, how much you'll achieve? You'll achieve 30. You'll achieve 30 cards, 30 credit cards. When he came to me, he said, Loy has impressed me so much, he'll not do 30 cards, he'll do 60 cards. And I didn't even have a single customer until then. Long story short, even though he made me sound as if the guy will achieve 60 cards, I think I achieved only three customers, 3 credit cards. So the stalwarts of Citibank, the legends of Citibank, they had achieved 30 customers. I was predicted to achieve 60 customers. I achieved only 3. So please don't position yourself as too perfect, because you position yourself as too perfect. When it comes to delivering and you don't deliver, they're going to terminate you, or you'll be the laughing stock, or people will lose respect for you, or nobody will take you seriously. So please don't position yourself as too perfect. That's very, very important. Point number 13. Okay, let me just put the timestamp here. Okay, here's another thing. Okay, don't now, even though I told you don't position yourself perfectly, always make sure that if you mention any drawback, make sure that the drawback that you're positioning or the drawback that you're stating is also give them a solution. Let's say, for instance, example, I'm a rebel. So what I do is, whenever I go for an interview, I tell them explicitly, I'm a rebel. So many a times, the person thinking will be like, oh sheesh, how can I make this rebel work in our team? It will disrupt our team. It will cause problems. So what do is I tell them that I'm a rebel, and then I offer the solution. I tell them, I am a rebel. I don't follow rules, but this is what I do because I'm a rebel. Okay, and I offer them solutions. And you need to offer solutions in a very logical way, in a manner that the person will say, oh, I can live with that. I think that is okay. Let's say, for example, you're an introvert. That is your drawback. Okay, you tell the person, I'm an introvert. I cannot socialize. Then you offer the solution. Even though I'm an introvert, this is the solution. This is what I do. So then what happens is, you're not hiding your drawback. You're not giving a hidden plus point. Like some people say, when they are asked, what is your drawback? Oh, I'm so focused that I have to be thrown out of the office. When that is not true. Don't do that. Don't give a hidden plus point as your drawback, because people will not like it. So when you do give your drawbacks, which is very recommended to give your drawbacks, because never position yourself as too perfect, give them the drawback, but also give them the solution to the drawback. Okay, so if in case you don't have experience, give them the solution for that also. So next point, let me put the timestamp. Okay, I think it's very important for you to clearly and explicitly state what you can do, what you cannot do. Many a times the employer, what he tends to do is he would like to make sure that he has you on a hook. Okay, what do I mean by that is he would like to get you to agree to say everything. Let's say, for example, you're a vendor. He would say, okay, would you give me the product on a discount? You'd say yes. Can you give me credit facility? Yes. Can you push for a faster date of delivery? Yes. Can you be flexible? So he'll make you say yes on everything, and you'd accept more than what you have bargained for, and in the end, it becomes a loss. So if the CEO is taking an interview and says, "Can you work hard?" Yes. Can you work for extra hours? Yes. Can you work for off days? Yes. Can you achieve more than the target? Yes. Don't say yes. Don't say yes. One of my good friends, whom obviously I don't want to name, I'll just call him JJ. So JJ, before he used to say yes to everything, he used to work as an engineer. However, after me training him, I taught him to tell the person what he can and cannot do. So when he went for an interview to an Australian company, the guy said, you'll have to work on extra hours. He said, no, I'm sorry, I cannot work extra hours. I will give 100% work during the 8 hours, but after the 8th hour, I'm going home because I need to spend time with my family. Then he said, oh, then you'll have to work on your off days sometimes. No, I'm sorry, I will not work on my off days. I will do my work during the 8 hours because I'm being paid for 8 hours. I'll work for 8 hours. You want me to work extra hours? Then that should be paid overtime. And I'm not going to work during my off days because I'm a family man. I need to spend time. Before, early in my career, I used to spend 7 days a week. I worked for 6 months without a day off. I could do it those days. I'm not prepared to do it now. So you need to be sure what you can do and what you cannot do. Be very explicit about it. Let's move on to the next point. Let me put a timestamp. Okay. The 3 E's, which is very important. The 3 E's, you need to be engaging, you need to be enthusiastic, and you need to be energetic. Okay, by engaging is make sure that whatever answer you give, the person is interested. He's like, oh, okay, and he asks you more questions, and then there's an engagement, there's a dialogue. What do you mean by enthusiastic? Don't come to the interview, sir, I like to do this, I like to do that. No, be enthusiastic about the job, show excitement. One second. Espresso. And finally, energy. You see, I'm fully energetic because I've drank an espresso. I have high amounts of energy. So you need to be engaging. You need to be enthusiastic. You need to be boundless, filled with endless energy, because this is the trait of a leader. Okay, let me put a timestamp. The next point is, wait, timestamp first, 8:27. Okay, you need to be interesting, informative, and innovative. Now, interesting obviously matches with engaging, but interesting is make your personality kind of interesting, that the person feels, wow, you have this hobby, you have this interest, I didn't know that. Okay, let's say, for example, you are a leader in some non-profit organization, or you have done work for some charity that person does, or you are in the same line of work, let's say same line of sports, this person, let's say he's a marathon runner, you're a marathon runner, or you're a triathlete. Some people find, wow, you're a triathlete. So state something interesting about you that the person feels makes you stand out. The second one is informative. If you're in the line of sales, give them some interesting data about, let's say, sales forecast, let's say for the Middle East, or the sales strategies, or some sales techniques. Make it informative. Make the person feel he's dealing with an expert. And lastly, innovative. Think outside the box. Don't be like everyone else. Don't say, like, a salesman coming in, so would you like to buy my product because the button is round, round button. It's not a square button. That makes it boring. Make it innovative. Give him something that makes him think that, wow, I'm dealing with someone. Let's say, for example, you have done a certification in coaching. You can be an effective coach. You can be an effective trainer. You have created modules. Now that is something out of the box. Okay, so make sure the 3 I's: interesting, informative, and innovative. Let me put a timestamp. The next one is the 3 C's. The 3 C's is being competitive, charismatic, and communicative. Okay, by competitive is people love someone who's competitive, who wants to be the best. For me, I am obsessed about being the best, so that is competition. Generally, employers love to employ someone who wants to be the best, who wants to really push himself beyond limits. So being competitive is a very powerful factor. The second one is charismatic. Charisma comes with practice. Like, for example, whenever I walk into a room, everyone is staring at me. Obviously, it's the tattoos, but then it's the way I speak, the way that I am. So find out what is the factor that makes you charismatic. It can even be your silence, okay? Last and not the least, remember, communicative. You should be a powerful communicator, because if you can communicate powerfully, you can definitely stand out. So make sure that you are very, very communicative. Communication is an art. You should learn how to communicate and be a powerful communicator. Okay, it's like public speaking. Let's move to point number 18. That is, let me put a timestamp. Okay, timestamp is know your personal brand. Now, many people, what happens is they do not know what their personal brand is. They do not know what they stand for. They do not know the values. They do not know what is their unique selling proposition. You must know what is your personal brand. If you do not know what is your personal brand, that would backfire. So make sure that you know what is your personal brand. In terms of personal branding, what I would say is it's very, very important for you to be clear about your values, what you stand for, what you're ready to do, what you're not ready to do, what makes you unique, what makes you original, what drives value, what is your unique selling proposition. And that only comes from knowing your personal brand. If you do not know your personal brand, you do not stand out. So point number 18 is know your personal brand. So let's move on to the next point, 19. This one is pretty controversial, but this one definitely stands out, is be ready to say no. Okay, be ready to say no. Let's say, for instance, the CEO. Remember, the CEO takes care of the budgets. He is the businessman. He's the owner of the company, more or less. So there are times where he's going to give you a deal, or he's going to offer you a salary that is not necessarily right or suited for you. For example, he says, okay, you want $10,000 as your salary expectation. Take $5,000 for now. I guarantee you after 3 months, I will increase the salary based on your performance to $7,000. And after another 3 months, I'll increase it to $10,000. Now, you know for a fact that is not the deal that you want. Do not say yes. Because if you say yes, you're not going to be happy. You're digging your own grave. So if in case the guy gives you a deal, be ready to say no, be ready to walk away, be ready to say, I'm sorry, that doesn't work out for me. So when you're ready to say no, sometimes that would make you much more interesting for the employer. So one of the important points at point number 19 is be prepared to say no. Point number 20, that is last, if not the least, is show gratitude. Now, how do you show gratitude is not just saying thank you to the person. Showing gratitude is being a person who has it within him where he can be grateful, he can be honorable, he can be humble. So when I'm in the presence of a CEO, even if I get the deal or I don't get the deal, even if he's trying to play a poker game by trying to negotiate a hard-fought conversation or hard-fought negotiation, I always show gratitude by being genuine, being truly grateful that he gave me his time. And that is where you can show gratitude by showing that you did a little bit of homework with regards to his background, his education, where he has been, what he has done, by praising him or by appreciating what he has done for you. Remember this, if a person tends to show gratitude, that always goes a long way off. And people love those who show gratitude. So remember this, show a little bit of gratitude, and that really works. Okay, let me just put the timestamp here. 1 second. Okay, so encapsulating everything that I've shared with you. Okay, let me just put the timestamp once again. Sorry. Okay, so encapsulating everything that I've said to all of you, I just want you to know that when you call for an interview with the CEO, there is no excuse for preparation. I know this is pretty intense, everything that I've said, but so is the fact that if you want to get a deal of a lifetime, if you want to get double your salary, these are the points you have to consider. Others, you're not going to succeed. You will just not succeed. It takes a lot of work. Now, there are chances that even after you do all this, you may not get a job. Then you'd have to sit down with your mentor, because otherwise you're not going to succeed. Okay, and keep this in mind. There's only one chance. There is only one chance. So if I were you, I would make sure that I'm 100% prepared to get the job. what I tend to do is when I have a candidate who has to go for the final interview, I sit down with him, video, Skype, face to face, and we make sure that we thin slice the videos, every sentence, every paragraph, every gesture, every mannerism is studied until we achieve the desired result that qualifies them to get the job. So these are the points that I've shared with you. I hope you have liked this video. Do like and share this video with others. Do give me a support. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if in case you'd like to contribute to my video channel because you got something of value, would appreciate that is Loy@loymachedo.com. Go to PayPal and just pay to Loy@loymachedo.com. Overall, keep in mind, no matter how many videos you watch online, no matter how many books you read, nothing will beat having a world-class mentor. I'm not saying just me. Go to anyone of your choice. Make sure you get a world-class mentor so that you get a world-class job. This is Loy from Loymachedo.com, who's Loy Machedo and Think Personal Branding, signing off for now. Thank you very much. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Take care.